Welcome to On the Road and Hampton Roads. My name is Andy Bond, and Steve Goad and I are touring the area, getting the wisdom of entrepreneurs as we give the American spirit a voice. We're here today with Joe Hill from Air Biologic. Joe, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Look forward to hearing more about you and Air Biologic. Could you tell us how you got to found Air Biologic?
Back in 2010, I lost my job as at a leading biotech here in the area, and so I quickly took a job as a financial planner, which really helped me to cut my teeth on being an entrepreneur. It's my own business. Really taught me to network with folks, and part of that process is finding groups of people that you want to work with. And I have two boys with autism, so that sent me down the road to being involved with the Autism Society and talking to parents who wanted to help their children plan for the future. And I also have a real love for technology and just seeing where they're going with tech in the area, and just really wanted to get involved with those folks. So it was sort of a hybrid of the two. The more and more I talked to parents about what they wanted for their children was better tools and also just better tech, really. And so the more and more I talked with these folks, I just started to see that there's a real gap in innovation with tech for special needs, especially with autism, but also just in the medical field in general. And with the advent of the iPad and with the iPhone and just seeing applications being launched left, right, and center, I really wanted to get involved with that. So basically in the beginning of 2011, I left my financial planning practice and decided to launch Air Biologic. And we wanted to develop our first app was going to be for the special needs market, and making an inexpensive application that does basically the same thing that a $300 application will do on the iPad. So I really wanted to do something like that, and that's where we decided to launch.
What is it about applications that makes that special than, I guess, particular programs or the web otherwise?
I think the applications are the future of computing. It allows a device like the iPad or even an Android tablet to become multi-use. It makes it the Swiss Army knife, essentially. So rather than designing one machine to do one specific task, you have a machine that can do thousands of tasks. Whatever that application tells it to do, it's doing. And so I think, especially in areas like the medical field, in areas like games, and in areas like just engineering, you're beginning to see a lot of creative, innovative things coming to the computing world, which is a lot of fun, I think. It really launches the creative spirit of folks to do art, to do music, to make a iPhone into a flute. You see a company like Smule do that, where you blow into the phone and you make it into a flute. That's fantastic. You don't see that. You haven't seen that until now. So I think that's why it's the future. You can't crush creativity, especially in America. And I think that's the reason why it's the future of computing. And that's why they're blowing up so quickly.
You were telling us a little earlier about what you found at the Apple Store, even?
Yeah. I walked into the Apple Store the other day, and it's one of my favorite places to be. And I looked down on the bottom shelf. I saw two blood pressure monitors, two different types of blood pressure monitors for the iPad and iPhone. You plug it in, you take your blood pressure, and it gives you a readout of systolic, diastolic, and it's green, red, or yellow, which, good, bad, or you're right in the middle, you need to improve on. I mean, finding something like that in an electronics store, not a medical supply store, is really fantastic, and that, of course, now the FDA is starting to see things like that, and it's starting to want to get more into regulation. But that's not a bad thing. I think that's a really cool, great idea, that people can have something really portable, and then like the iPad, and just be able to create something new with that as well. And it's going to open a whole door for just entrepreneurs everywhere.
Could you tell us more about your autism app?
Yeah, our app's called AirTalk, and what it is basically is a customizable flashcard system for children with autism. I saw a lot of programs that were teaching kids to talk say, you know, daddy, mommy, and it had a stick figure with a dress on or a stick figure with a tie on. It's great, it's for kids interacting, but what I really wanted to do is something that's more concrete, something that's customizable, so that a picture of daddy is actually a picture of daddy. So, and also just to help the kids speak in complete sentences. So rather than just one word, string them together so they can, you know, using speech pathology tools, string them together so they can learn to speak multiple word sentences and help in their development. So you have a carousel of nouns and verbs. So you pull down a noun, you pull down a verb. And so it's like, oh, okay, that's a picture of daddy. And this is designed for the parents to work with them as well. Pull down daddy, pull down juice, and at the end it has please and thank you. And you press play, it says daddy, and it magnifies juice, please. So visually, auditorially, they can have something, but also a panic button in case the child is nonverbal. Parents can press this big red button in the top left-hand corner, and it brings up a grid of the most commonly used things. So if they're in the kitchen yelling, and you don't know what they want, and they're frustrated, and you're frustrated, they can point at what they want, because they see a picture of what it is exactly that they want. And then a word wall for therapists and say, I want them to use these words. Well, if those words aren't pre-programmed onto the app, they just press a add a word button, take a picture of whatever it is, say it into the microphone, and all of a sudden you have a new flashcard. And that's in 2 or 3 clicks. It's not complicated, it's easy to use. I saw a lot of these things that are customizable. It takes 6, 7, 8, 9 clicks. That's just too much, you know. So do something that's really easy to do. So it does a multiplicity of things in one app. And I think it's going to be kind of groundbreaking. I'm excited about it. So,
And as a startup CEO, then, what have you learned?
as a pre-launch CEO, I've learned that I'm really good at getting sandwiches for people. When you don't have a product quite yet, you really have to be patient. And sometimes you're left sitting around saying, you know, what am I doing here? Am I really that important? But in situations, once the product launches and talking to other pre-launch and post-launch CEOs, you really begin to see your role develop more as a cheerleader, as a fundraiser, as just being the voice of your company. But in pre-launch, when it's in development, you're sort of just, you know, you're the guy. It's like, okay, what type of sandwich do you want? What type of drink do you want? And for me, my role is, you know, being a support to my family. This isn't making us any money yet, so I'm working at a warehouse scrubbing floors in the morning, and at night I'm working at a hotel taking out trash. It's humbling, but at the same time you're there to work, and this is your vision. You just got to keep pushing at it. It doesn't matter what you do. You just got to keep pushing at it no matter what. So,
do you think the American entrepreneurial spirit is alive here in Hampton Roads?
oh yeah, absolutely. I think I see examples of it all the time, which really, to me, is quite surprising. I'm a local. I'm one of the few locals here in the area, born and raised. Growing up in an environment, both my parents worked for the government. Their parents worked for the government. They're in the military. That's why they're here. Sometimes you just sort of get into that rut where that's all you seem to meet. But the more and more people I meet, from people who are starting their own podcast networks to people who are app developers and just start from the ground up, I think that's really impressive, and I'm excited to see that growing. It's growing not as quickly as some would like, but in all honesty, I think the environment is just right just now, where people are saying, maybe like with GIFCOM, the government might not stick around forever. We need to do other things, and we have plenty of intellectual capital in this area to do that. And that's part of my reasoning too, is some politician wakes up one morning and just says, nope, that's not there anymore, and it's gone just like that, and next thing you know, 5,000 jobs are gone. We need to start innovating in other areas as well. And I think there's a lot of places like that are nationwide known, that are growing, and hopefully places like my company will grow as well and will become known worldwide. So,
Could I ask you for 1 or 2 tips that you'd give to people who are thinking about starting their own business, starting their own adventure?
yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing I will say is just go do it. A lot of people come up with reasons why they can't do things, or a lot of people want to ask advice for how do I start this. To be honest with you, the people who start things just seem to know what to do. They just seem to go do it. They're standing at that cliff's edge and they're looking, they just jump. And I've heard people give advice, in multiple different areas, whether it be special effects for movies or music or whatever. The people who want to do it are just going to do it no matter what. So go do it. And second of all, be on the lookout for, I like to call them serendipitous meetings. Go tell anybody who will listen to you about your idea, no matter what. Because eventually you're going to find, a lot of people like to hold it inside, and that's somewhat smart, but at the same time, I think the more sharing, the more open you are about your idea, the better it's going to be. And eventually you find people who are like, hey, listen, I'm good at this, can I help? Yeah, you know, why not? Let's get this thing off the ground together. Before it's just an idea, but if other people want to help out, you're going to find that you're going to meet a lot of those serendipitous meetings, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a great experience, let me tell you.
Well, thank you for that wisdom. Where can we learn more about Air Biologic?
Right now, I have two places. One is the Facebook page, which is going to be facebook.com/airbiologic.
And how do you spell that?
AEIRBIOLOGIC. Spelling is not my strong point. That's the first place. The second is going to be airbiologic.tumblr.com. That's our blog page, and that's where I'm sort of blocking out where we're at, what the process is of really starting a company from start to finish. So that's going to be AEIRBIOLOGIC.tumblr.com.
Great. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.
That's been On the Road and Hampton Roads with Joe Hill from Air Biologic. Join us next time as we give the American entrepreneurial spirit a voice.